Hey, everybody. Hope and pray that you're doing well today. So we come to our word from the word. And today that word is foolish. Foolish. Now, I would ask you, have you ever done anything foolish? But since we're talking this way, I guess you don't really have to admit it to me, but you probably already know. So I guess I could tell you, yes, there's plenty of times I've done stuff that was considered foolish. I think back, I said, well, I got to at least share one example. And I remember me and my brother, right, when we were younger, right, we all do foolish things as teenagers, and especially teenage boys. And I remember us at our grandma's house and riding our bikes, and we, of course, like all boys do, you're gonna get you a bike, and you got your bike, but that's not just good enough. And then you find a little hill and to try to do some jumps, and that's not good enough. And so then you find a piece of wood, and you find a brick, and so you make a ramp, and you jump off of that, and then you say, well, that's nice, but now that's not fun anymore. So now we need to go 2 bricks high, and oh, that's great, and that works good, and then you go 3 bricks high, and it doesn't work out quite so well. The journey towards the ramp went well, and the flight looked great, and I just thank the Lord it wasn't me, but my brother that was the one doing it, and as he sailed through the air, he did fine, and when he landed, he actually stuck the landing, but then he didn't fare so well after that. But now I say that, and I was just as much a part of it as he was, although he felt a little bit more of the pain. We've all done foolish things. Now, if you think about that, a lot of times in our day and time, we use that, and we're talking about putting down people, saying they're foolish, and people take it the wrong way, even though I want to make sure that you understand it's still wrong. It's still not correct. But some people use it as an insult, thinking it's a mental capability that people are foolish, but it's not. It's a heart problem, not a head problem, and especially in the context of what we're talking about today. You think about in general context, right? If we're thinking about doing something foolish, it's something that you know better, but that you just want to do anyway. You know better, but you want to do anyway. So with that, let's look today. We're just really going to look at the first half of Psalm 14, verse 1, just half of a verse today. But as always, I encourage you to read the whole psalm, and you can see what David's saying here. He says, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Now, with that, it's not just that he's speaking about an atheist. It's not just that he's talking about somebody who just says, well, I don't want to believe in God. Now, the whole point is that whether or not they've actually said it or not, it's that in his heart, he's acted as though there is no God. These are the same people that, like I said, can be highly intellectual. And they say, well, no, I can't believe in God. It's not that you can, it's that you choose not to. It's a heart problem, that a heart is desiring to want to make sense of everything. And if you can't explain it, then it can't be. But see, if we could explain God, then he wouldn't be God. If we could wrap our minds around exactly how he does everything, then he would cease to be God. And so to say in your heart that there is no God is also to say that I can live my life however I choose. There will be no repercussions. There'll be no consequences. And that's what we see in our world today, not just in our nation, all across this world. We see that people act as though there is no God. He says, only the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. These are the same people that, yes, they look out into the stars and everything else, and they say, oh, well, it must have been some big bang. Oh, it must have been evolution. Oh, we must be just getting better and better and better and better. And when we look around, everything's getting worse and worse and worse. So even that logic makes no sense. See, in their head, they should know better. But in their heart, they choose to believe there is no God. They choose to act as if there is no God. But let's go one step further. How about for the believer who knows that there's a God, knows in his head and knows in his heart that there's a God, but then acts in such a way like he believes that there is no God. When the believer acts as though there's no consequences for sin, or when the believer acts like it's okay and is just allowing sin to permeate every part of their lives, I think that's the worst kind of fool of all. And I would even have to go back and say, hey, wait a minute, we need to check on that salvation there to see if that salvation is real. But you know, the truth of that is, the reason that so many people choose not to believe in God is because of those who say that they believe in God. They know in their heart that they believe in God, but their actions don't line up with it. That is truly foolish. Let's pray that word would never describe us. God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.